Welcome everybody to the second edition of BALA Sports. On my right here we have
Alex,
C-West,
Anthony,
Brendan,
and our special guest.
Kareem.
Hi, well Kareem, I know you're a varsity basketball player and you've been playing on the varsity team for 2 years, so I have a question for you. What factors do you think cause change to play style and regulations in the NBA?
Play styles and regulations, definitely like the use of like not in high school but in NBA, like you're able to use like cameras for reviewing and such like
So
that.
technology.
Yeah, technology. So that's been like a huge part of the NBA, and definitely like social media, and like it has its negatives and positives.
So do you think individual players as icons make a difference?
Yeah, they definitely do, and like if they're able to spread like you're able to see how they actually are like through social media.
Yeah.
So.
Well, the basketball game started with Dr. Naismith with 13 original rules. Those many rules have been expanded today. Many of them still carry on. Rules such as coaching, scoring, substitutions, basketball interference, and shot clocks. Many do not even know that coaching wasn't allowed to the 1940s. Back in the day, you could just go on the court and do whatever you want, so pretty much high school basketball.
Yeah.
But jokes aside, I think this question is pretty important because we're able to see how many has been affecting these factors. Well, these for you, how do you think individual players have impacted the game?
Individual players.
I
Well,
have a lot to add to that.
Yeah.
Individual players
a lot
like
to
cool.
add.
Let's start off with like
Well,
just
like,
like
yeah,
names. Let's drop names, bro.
Let's start the biggest name, LeBron James. This man's a freaking monster.
Yeah.
LeBron,
All right.
Let's go
LeBron.
back. We gotta
Oh,
go
we're
back
going
first.
back?
Alright,
Go
well,
back first.
starting back from history, we got like George Mikan with like he's famous for like the George Mikan like layup rule where you go under, and he started 3-second rule, like you couldn't be in the paint for more than 3 seconds.
Yeah.
And then you have like Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, who's famous for the hook shot, which actually made him the highest scorer of all time in the NBA. And there are many like arguments about why people haven't used that shot, even though it's been so efficient for him, because he was like greatest scorer of all time.
Well, besides moves for specific players, I'm talking about like rules they actually add in the game, such as
Rules, you have like Shaq, you have like Hack a Shaq where you can't foul. Like,
or Charles Barkley, how he used to back up into the paint.
yeah, like the
Yeah.
5-second rule, you have to make a rule within 5 seconds.
There was the addition of the 3-point line. That was
I think George Mikan was part of that.
yeah, that changed the whole game.
Yeah.
If it wasn't for the 3-point line, you know, like scoring would be completely different now.
Yeah.
Shooters wouldn't be shooters; they would just be players.
Yeah.
You know, so
So what factors do you think led to this change?
what led to it? To the
overall
3-point
talent.
line? Honestly, I think people wanted more out of this. Like as the NBA started getting popular, the game started changing. It became quicker, became harder.
The talent.
You know, the talent was improving. You know, they had to
So the social aspect.
socially. Honestly,
People
I think
just wanted more. They just
Yeah.
wanted more. They wanted to see a change. They wanted to see some sort of difference.
Who doesn't want to see LeBron fast break, typical LeBron, you know, like going down the court, dunks on people, and so I don't know.
Yeah, like fast breaks are like such a huge part of the game. Like the Warriors are like obviously popular for like running
One of the
guns.
most known.
Yeah.
So
So
the people drive the change, and then the NBA produces
yeah,
the results.
Exactly.
give them what the people want. So like more ratings. So that's why like they're the most popular sport in America.
It's just a huge domino effect between all these guys.
Well, obviously, television and social media has a big impact on it.
Yeah, huge effect.
So such like Twitter,
Yeah.
I feel that
Twitter, bro, YouTube, ESPN, bro, one of the biggest broadcasters of sports.
And not only that, on ESPN, you got people that be talking so much that it drives the players to do so much better.
Yeah.
So,
Criticism's a big play. It's a big
motivation.
part of the whole game. You know?
hate fuels motivation.
Like
Exactly.
Like the most like infamous was obviously like Stephen A. Smith.
Oh my god.
Like he's like known for like
He just straight bashed on players.
and dashes, and he also like loves like LeBron.
Stephen A. Smith's like the new, Bill Simmons. You know, Bill Simmons. He wrote that book. What was it called? The Game of Basketball.
Yeah.
Book of basketball.
The Book of
You should
Basketball. That was
trash every
that
single
was
person.
that was the #1 bestseller.
bash everyone.
New York Times, and you know, these two people, they were columnists. They literally were the media. They were the like that perspective that you know people look for. And you know
He was honest.
when they speak, you know, they like their ranking and you know their status, people would listen to them.
Yeah.
Their words were more effective than you know just us talking, of course.
Yeah.
What else is there?
What else?
Well, I think the way we identify, well, the great players and the things that are impacting them is not only like by the things impacting them, such as technology, media, and social media, but like actually like the times, because when times change, people change. That's why we see a play style in the rules. With the different eras, we get different rules.
Alright, so I have a question. So, with all this social media going around, I mean, this is probably getting off topic, but with all social media being around, why has no NBA player, to say the least, ever got caught doping or say get
Which
caught,
is funny
get caught
because
with
you
the wrong
are
situation?
watching all the time.
Yeah.
People watch you recording.
You're constantly
Yeah,
monitoring.
but remember, it's one of those things. It's like let's relate it to everyday news. When
Okay.
you see someone jump off a bridge, or when you see, you know, not everything is going to be seen because it's either not that important or there's no time to add all these
So
people.
the theory of the newest story beats the last one.
That's what I'm saying. Like this, like I don't think, you know. Who knows what these NBA players are doing behind the scenes? Like,
Well, I know.
well, yeah, we may know. People may say one thing,
Their
others say
social
other
media
thing.
followers.
So I mean,
Yeah.
with Alex and doping, they made like a whole
Alex was doping.
no.
That's it though.
Alex and this, he brought up the topic about doping. Like,
Alex is not doping.
they really recently, Glacier Report made an article about how like players would smoke before every game. Like Matt Barnes,
J.R. Smith.
J.R. Smith, like he said a questionable quote yesterday about. Like, let's not even get into it, but like people.
Paraphrase it?
Yeah, that's paraphrasing. There's other
He
things.
said,
Don't see what happens.
they said he had the green light for the game, and he was just like, it's not going to be as green as whatever he's going to be doing the next day. So
There's some illegal.
Right. So like I guess we should go back. Who in the NBA has been caught doping? There's actually a list. I'm gonna say some names and the year that it happened. We got 2007, Lindsey Hunter. He got suspended for 10 games, tested positive for phentermine. Phentermine is it's an oil that people use to lose weight.
So even not drug enhancements, but any drug that helps you.
Anything. There are different kinds of drugs that really can do anything to your body, and like it's nothing like the ones that make you stronger, but
It varies from
They can
performance
affect-
enhancing to
yeah, anything is we consider performance enhancing. Losing weight. Some people would there'd be drugs that make it so you don't get as dehydrated.
So anything to advance your ability in the game.
yeah.
Yep. September 20th, 2008, Darius Miles was suspended 10 games for the same exact reason.
Yeah, but if you look at it,
And even last year, Joakim Noah.
Yeah, but like I don't think Joakim Noah's was like intentional. Like he was getting prescribed, like because obviously he has a lot of injuries and he didn't know like the drug was illegal, so he kind of got caught up. So like some
Sure, prescriptions are a big deal nowadays. You can't even get prescriptions for like asthma. I have asthma. Like I literally had to get a note. I just can't refill it at the nearest CVS or something. So like any kind of prescription, even like NyQuil or something. So I think it's not really that the drug's not a big deal, but the fact that he's doing it and he's an NBA player makes it a big deal.
yeah, that's true.
Well, Sebastian, I know you've been researching this topic. Do you think can you add any inference to it?
Yes, I actually can. The NBA still has some steroids that are legal, even though the Olympic doesn't even allow them.
Like what do these drugs do? You know?
PhD.
And what do they love?
What was that PhD? On the last page.
Oh, yeah, Ligandrol, which is basically treatment of conditions such as muscle wasting, which helps you.
I think
You're
those
right.
might be allowed because they help with recovery and not enhancement.
Exactly,
But-
but who's to tell the difference from that and
Yeah.
some other type of?
True, people could be mixing.
You can mix, you know,
that's what I'm
you can mix
saying.
all this.
Nowadays,
People.
I get what the NBA is doing. They're trying to, they're looking out for their players. We may not know it, but they are looking out for their players.
Yeah,
And they know if they buy one thing, and mix it with other things, and mix it with other things.
think that-
Overdose, it's not gonna lead
It'll
to
become
something positive.
transparent to the actual drug test.
Exactly.
Definitely.
So in a way, it's kind of a two-sided coin. It either can be seen badly for using drugs, or
Well,
people might not
nowadays,
care at all. 'Cause
you hear an NBA player doing something,
you might just
even if he had prescription for it, other people are gonna say other things. It's just a dark. We're
Yeah,
right.
it's opinion based.
Right now, yeah, it's so opinion based, but the opinion base is so strong. Overdose, it's not gonna lead
It'll
to
become
something positive.
transparent to the actual drug test.
Exactly.
Definitely.
So in a way, it's kind of a two-sided coin. It either can be seen badly for using drugs, or
Well,
people might not
nowadays,
care at all. 'Cause
you hear an NBA player doing something,
you might just
even if he had prescription for it, other people are gonna say other things. It's just a dark. We're
Yeah,
right.
it's opinion based.
Right now, yeah, it's so opinion based, but the opinion base is so strong that it's hard to come from it.
How do you guys feel about the way that the NBA tests for these? You know, even if there are people doing it, every once in a while someone gets caught.
Honestly, like, it's pretty easy to, like, they even said it's pretty easy to get past a drug test. Like, they tell you, like, months in advance, like, when they're gonna give you a drug
So
test.
they-
Yeah, I have it right here. It says
Yeah.
on ESPN. It says the NBA program is roughly consistent with that of other major North American sports leagues from the agreement of the NBA negotiated with the players associated during the 2011 lockout. And this is a quote that they said: "All players are subject to 4 random tests each season from October 1st to June 30th. All players are also subject to 2 random tests each offseason from July 1st to September 30th. All such tests are scheduled and conducted by an independent third-party entity and are without prior notice to the player. The NBA and the NBPA are not involved in the scheduling of any tests or the selection of players for testing."
But let me stop you there. Congress, a quote from Congress, under the NBA policy, NBA players face no random testing at all once they complete their rookie year.
Yeah.
So after that,
Once
they're
they
pretty
complete
much
their
free
review-
to do whatever they want.
Yep, they after that, once a year they get tested, and that's during the
And they're notified about it months in advance.
That's
Yep.
why, like,
only once per year.
that's why you don't hear about so much, like, like, people getting caught for drugs, like, in the NBA compared to, like, NFL or MLB, stuff like that, so.
What are the rules for like NFL and all? I'm not actually too familiar.
Well,
Well, in the NBA, you were saying before that their testing is different.
Then the NFL,
yeah.
how would it be? Do they test you more? Do they test you?
No, yeah, in the NFL they test you a lot more.
I feel like
they
that-
test you a lot more because
Because it's kind of obvious. You see how big these men are running into each
the
other.
NFL is a
So
lot more physical than
Yeah.
the NBA. Like,
So do you
10
think
times.
because of the way they play, they test people more than they do in basketball? Baseball isn't as physical as basketball is.
But yeah, when you hear someone do something bad in baseball, it's huge, which is very odd. Like
Alex
you hear,
Rodriguez.
yes, when you hear like Alex
Chris Bonds.
Rodriguez, and something funny about that, I did research and this wasn't like out there a lot. I know we're getting off topic with basketball, but A-Rod, he had prescription of it, but it was just he was just being bashed by it.
He had a bad image.
Yeah, but then again, I did more research and it was like, oh, it turns out this was prescribed.
Getting caught with something, you know, everybody just, it blows up, they change the way the story goes, everyone gets it wrong, then media starts bashing on the player, they lose attention.
And the thing is, the media,
It's understandable.
what I noticed that it doesn't give you the truth, it just gives you opinions. Because if you look at other articles, look at other things, like, you know, if an NBA coach says something racist, right? One website says one thing, another website says another thing, then one post, you know, it's different. It's not. I know people say don't believe anything you see on the internet, but
Until the
In a
actual
way-
interview with the actual coach, then you'll get the information. You may get the information.
Have you-
but who's to say that internet interview is the truth?
That's what I'm saying. You may get the information you want. You may not.
Well, then again, you also have to rely on, like, the players of, like, that he had told, or, like, the players around, like, the coach and stuff like that.
I think it all has to do with like bad imaging.
Yeah.
Like in this book I'm reading, written by Shia Serrano, it says, or perhaps you think it's Greg Gordon, and I'm paraphrasing here, the first ever #1 pick draft to have a picture of his nudity part on the internet. That is directly, like, they're obviously attacking him, despite him being the #1 pick and being beloved.
It's just social media sets a bad image. That's what it comes down to.
Sometimes it sets a good image though.
Sometimes
Social media can
Since-
either blow somebody up.
Or it could turn you to the worst.
Mind you, this was years ago. It wasn't even like.
Yeah,
But even
it's
then,
more
how
than
long
that.
ago?
Oh, it doesn't say.
Who was that? OJ Mayo, you said?
Greg Oden.
Greg Oden?
One of like the worst #1 overall picks ever. So, but like that also happened with Draymond Green, but like it didn't blow up as much. Like it blew up for like a month and then right back.
Because he's so big, he's so popular that he basically suppressed it himself.
Yeah. So
So you're kind of answering my question here. Publicity, masses.
Publicity does have an impact on what happens to you, because if somebody, some no name off the bench like gets caught doing something, it won't be as big as if a starter, a star player, a big three were to do it. It's a lot different.
yeah, like it would like if it was like a no-name player, like it would blow up for a little, like you'd see like a few like tweets and like Instagram posts about it, and like maybe he'd get like kicked off the team because like he's a bench player, like you don't really need him, but it wouldn't be like as big compared to like say if like LeBron did it, like I would even know what would happen if something like that would happen with LeBron.
If something that would happen, people will go
Do
crazy.
you
I
guys
think
know
it might be
what the penalty is for being like caught doping in the NBA? Like the first offense penalty. It says here that the NBA's first confirmed performance-enhancing drug cheaters received 5 game suspensions. That's it.
That's nothing. That's nothing.
That's a week's worth
Fine,
of
Because even then, like some of these basketball players, they sit out
Yeah.
5 games.
Keep in mind, this was about 6-7 years ago. More recently, 10 games has been the norm. And then as the 2011-2012 season, the punishments have been ramped up. For the first doping offense, now it's a 20-game suspension.
So they've been upping the rules.
Yeah, getting more strict.
The second failure, 45 games.
Well, that's kind of like not to get off topic.
But have you noticed over the years, as the years come by, they get higher and higher? Don't you think people would have learned from their lesson from others?
I think that's the point of making these penalties so much harder.
If you don't learn, like we're just gonna keep making it worse.
Exactly, and as people are understanding now, and like people aren't getting caught as much in the NBA. When was the last time somebody in the NBA got caught doping?
Last year, just
Seriously.
like
Seriously?
But even then, like we just heard about it for like
Boys.
what, a good day or whatever,
Probably
and
before
Jakeem Noah
2012.
and
Like I don't think there was anyone caught doping this season at all. So
What else was there?
there's been a lot of beef, but
yeah,
not people doping.
that's also one of like the negative things about social media. Like people talk smack about on like social media and stuff.
This was also saying before that in the quote that I said earlier, it said that it says that the NBA and the MVP are not involved in the scheduling of tests. That means that for the NBA players, the NBA itself doesn't make these tests. It's run by somebody else.
Third party.
Third party. Isn't that a little sus to you guys? I feel like why does the
So you're
NBA
saying
not
that
run this?
MVP or
NBA does not.
because
NBA doesn't do the
They're
testing.
not concerned.
They don't schedule the testing either.
so it's an outside group.
It's an outside group.
Yes.
There's transparency there, because really should the NBA run its own testing program, or should it bring outsiders?
It should bring outsiders.
It
And
should.
here's why I think they should bring outsiders. The NBA, if they want to be, big, the NBA wants to top almost every sport whenever they're on television. They want to have the most viewers and the highest ratings. With that comes sacrifices and chances. Who knows that the president of the NBA may say, okay, here's some power enhancements. We're gonna make you guys do crazy things on the court. Have it. If that were to happen, we could be seeing half court shots be the normal. You know what I mean?
be the new
So
three.
this is why I don't think this is suspicious, but I find it a little. But then again, it's business. They want to be the best. They want to do whatever they can to be on top. So I see where you're coming from.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think the NBA should do their own testing these players.
Do you think it has to do with image?
Yeah, image is always
It's always
big
it,
role.
They
it
start-
all goes back to image.
Once NBA starts running their own, if they were to run their own drug tests, more people would know about it. It would kind of ruin the image.
I feel like if they run their own and run their own test, it won't be a validated test. Like
It'd be biased.
yes, that's what I was.
Well, I
looking
think
for. It'd be
with that-
biased.
Well, I think with the evolution of awareness with us being consumers, like we've evolved, like we're able to get information like that, the snap of our fingers, literally. So I think by them having do drug tests with an outside group, they can like use an invisible shield pretty much to cover themselves. Because they know, it's like, you know people are watching you, but you're still gonna do whatever you want anyway.
Exactly. What else we got
And
here?
it all draws back to like individual players, like setting footholds. And things that define individual players are like play styles and their moves. Some individual players with great moves are Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Magic Johnson, Tim Duncan, Allen Iverson, and Michael Jordan. Personally, my favorite, AI, with his filthy crossover.
Cool, bro. AI, I love him. I love playing him in 2K. I love playing him in 2K.
But the reason why like their moves get so revolutionized and copied by everyone, people playing street ball, college players, even professional people copy their moves. I think the reason behind that has to do with how we go back to image.
Yeah, it all comes back to it.
Oh, yeah, this whole conversation. I'm gonna tell you right now, each episode is going to go back to image.
Yeah.
It always comes back to image.
Yeah.
And that's the thing that it just sucks because, you know, going back to, you know, last week's episode when a coach, you know, says a racist word, but yet he's probably been like the best coach year after year getting rings for the team.
They get slandered on.
Yeah, they get slandered on. And everybody, you know, we're all human. We all make mistakes. There are people out there who've done worse.
Exactly.
But and that's the sad part.
Everyone makes mistakes.
That's the sad part, you know.
But that's why, like, with social media, you have to be careful. Like, in an article, like, that was said, Steph Curry even said that before he even tweets something, he has to reread it at least like 10 times just to make sure like everything's okay.
And I'm sure he's not the only one. I'm sure he's not the only
Your
one.
personal life is not private.
Yeah, it's really not.
Once you get up to this point, you know, you're literally on a very thin line.
So do you think that's also been like driving the way people play, like their moves?
I think that the media.
I mean by that, you think like people's social media accounts or anything they have to do online affects the way they play. Not like the way they play or the way they do things in basketball. Like
on the court?
On the court, yeah.
Some players.
That should be a big
Some
factor.
players.
That should be a big factor because
I
it's
feel
not
like
even about
Kyrie really could
facility.
care less.
Yeah.
Once somebody starts blowing up for something,
Mm-hmm.
they say that they did once, it becomes a new craze.
Well,
Like with Curry taking the farthest shots known to man.
Yeah,
Yeah.
once Curry started shooting, they started gassing him up. You know, everybody started shooting.
Everybody started shooting like Curry on the court.
big man started shooting like DeMarcus Cousins,
Joel Embiid.
Porzingis and stuff like that. So,
Exactly.
Shooting became normal. You
Yeah.
know, last time you saw a center shoot a 3-point like how many years ago?
Dirk.
That was when it was like normal. That was never a normal thing.
Yeah.
Wasn't that was never normal?
like back in the 90s, there was just strictly post and dunking, post
Exactly.
moves and stuff like that.
Exactly.
Like Tim Duncan doesn't shoot threes. Shaq, he can't shoot for anything like back in the 90s. But after them, like once it went, it's like early 2000s, people started to shoot like Dirk Nowitzki and like other crazy like unicorn big mans and stuff.
And then like on top of those kinds of play styles, there's also dunking. You know, dunking changed a lot in the past to now. People pimp their dunks out now. It's a popular thing. You know, if they get a highlight of you doing, you know, something crazy or windmill at 360, that's
It's everywhere.
They're basically trademarked.
it becomes a highlight.
Yeah, it's not even just like NBA players too. It's like high school players too. Like
It's just regular.
Oh,
It
yeah.
affects the
Regular people in the like even at the street.
yeah, like
Very
Mac,
true.
like Mac McClung, stuff like that. Basically famous like high school players, like 5-star recruits and stuff. So, and then you also have like things that like back to like what you said with the 3-point line and Steph Curry shooting. You have like things like jelly, which like as like social media
That's
has
kind of started as one move to a whole
like
organization.
it's
a
like it's like a
whole
culture now. Like everyone, like a lot
You
of
see Jelly Fam, you better not miss that later because
The
everybody.
media creates culture. That's what it is.
Yeah.
But there also like has been positive and like negative impacts. Like positive because like the kids in part of that group have like people look up to them and stuff. But then like coaches have been complaining about that people like do jellies in games.
Miss wide open layups,
Yeah.
just do some fancy move.
Like,
Just
I-
try-
I've
just
seen
try-
like,
Or whether it's taking a 3-point shot when you have an open lane.
Trying to
yeah,
get
something
the
like that.
camera.
I understand.
yeah.
So like it's gotten to the point that, you know, people are more, they care more about their image than, you know, actually playing the game.
Yeah,
So
that's
looking
one.
good for yourself,
Mhm.
looking,
Yeah.
Looking
But
good while you're
selfish.
doing the dunk. Looking good while you take the shot.
Yeah.
that all has to do with like privacy and whatnot, because everyone's watching what you do, especially if you play basketball, any sport.
And everyone's definitely on a computer or at least some technology.
Somebody's always watching you.
Yeah,
Always.
always watching.
Oh.
Like someone's in, like even in high school, someone's in the stands like recording the game or something.
Exactly. So, you know, you always have to be careful what you're doing.
So
And
not
back to what
only,
Brendan said.
so not only do they have the access to watching you, they also have the access to affecting you.
Yeah, they
Because whatever they say or anything they do could impact you.
control
Like
your
they
life.
say, let's say, Andrew Fitzpatrick misses a 3-pointer to end the game. And I know he made that.
Fits
one
on the
game.
fly?
Yeah.
Fits on the fly?
Fits on the
Yeah.
fly.
Shout out.
It's that one game, that one 3-point to tie the game or something like that. That can like impact you, and he might feel down for like a couple weeks or something. So I think that's why people try the hardest to look good on the court.
But I think now it's at a calm stage. Like it's not as big as if it would happen in the NBA. I'm not to say that high school and the NBA, obviously they're two separate, but they both mean a lot to, you know, the players on the court. So like how you said it, you know, it fits. He shoots a 3-point shot, he misses, game loses. We're out, you know, we're at the championship. Hypothetically saying, yeah, people are gonna be upset, but I don't think people are gonna be writing on it for the next 5 to 10 years.
Yeah.
So, you know, it just all depends where everything is in your placement as an athlete.
Makes sense.
Yeah, so we're gonna just wrap this up basically. I just want to bring this back to what Brendan said.
Bring it back to me.
Image is everything when it comes to media. Looking fancy, being popular, you know, it's all the same. And pretty much it'll get to the point where it'll completely control someone's life. It'll affect them in positive or negative ways. People will start doping. People will start, you know, looking good for the camera. And basically at that point, it just goes on from there.
It's an epidemic. It'll become an epidemic.
Thank you guys for watching. It's BALA Sports.
All right, guys.
Catch you guys next episode.